Welcome to another episode of the Inspiring Entrepreneur podcast. In this series, we try to learn from entrepreneurs who've been successful and we learn from their entrepreneurial journey. Today, we have with us a special guest who had a family business but decided to become a professional, study abroad, and settle there. But changed his mind, came back to India, and grew and scaled up his family business. Welcome Prashant Bhatia, co-founder of Cambridge Shirts. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Piyush.
So Prashant, let's start from the start. I think you were studying in NMIMS in Mumbai, right?
That's correct. So my journey, my educational journey, my background has been a Bachelor of Commerce from the Nursing Institute of Management Studies. That's where I did my undergrad studies. So that was the foundation stone for my education.
Wonderful. And then, what really transpired that you thought of going abroad for your further studies?
So that story is very interesting. Basically, what happened is I realized that coming from a business family, if I decided one day to get inside the business, there would be no easy way out. And I was hell-bent on getting a master's in business administration. So I thought, why not use another route? So what I did is I transferred credits from NM, from my undergrad program, to another university in the US, which is the University of South Carolina in Columbia, where I pursued my undergrad further. So basically I have a double undergrad degree, but that I saw as a stepping stone to getting into the master's program. So that is the foundation for the marketing program in the US, the undergrad series, because here I was not qualifying for an MBA seat. Hence I decided to use that loophole. I said, let me get out first and then see where life takes us.
Ooh. Was it something about the family business? Cambridge Shirts is a renowned brand since more than 3 decades now. So was it something that you did not like about the business that you thought of venturing abroad?
Let me correct you first. It's a 6+ decades old brand.
Yeah.
So and it is not only restricted to shirts. So
Yeah.
Cambridge basically stands for a complete menswear dressing provider.
Right. Wonderful.
So there was nothing about the business that I did not like, but I wanted an opportunity to do something on my own. I wanted to, basically it was, that young blood kind of a situation wherein I wanted to prove something to somebody. I did not want to be in the shadow of the family business. That's when I said, let me try to get out, let me rebel and try to get out of the situation and, get a degree abroad, because that I saw as my ticket to paradise, as they say.
Yeah, interesting. So then I think you ended up getting an offer letter as well, right?
Yes, after I graduated. In fact, this was right after I graduated. There's an interesting lead up to this. So while I was doing my marketing program, I had the opportunity to participate in a nationwide, and when I say nationwide, I'm talking about the US. There was a nationwide competition run by General Motors through a consulting agency.
Right.
They wanted to understand why their brand of Chevrolet cars was not doing well with the college community. I was very fortunate to be picked amongst 220 odd students. I was one of the 20 students who got picked for this particular assignment. And the agency who saw me do this job for General Motors was very happy, and they wanted me to interview, and they got me an interview with General Motors, and I had something very interesting going in there.
Right. And then what happened?
Well, as they say, fate had something else, destiny had something else in store for me. So I called my father. I was very excited when I got this news from the consulting agency. I had this very interesting offer. So before I could say anything to him, he paused me. He said, look, I was meaning to call you, and things have changed back here at home with the family business. And for the benefit of everybody involved and for the benefit of the brand, we have decided that we are going to geographically split the business amongst the brothers so that we can each focus on each of these areas and grow our business. So I need you to come back to Mumbai, come back to India, and help me out in this whole venture.
Prashant, not only you, I've seen so many of my friends living in this dilemma, maybe abroad, maybe in India, that should I be part of my family business or no? And they've spent 1 decade, 2 decades being in something that is not part of the family business. and breaking that dilemma is really a tough job. So what really happened that you decided to come back?
I was not given a choice, honestly,
Interesting.
interestingly, I had picked up so many. There were so many learnings for me that during my stay in the US, I did an internship with a departmental store, which was again, incidentally, that also happened to be a family-run chain of stores,
Interesting.
which is very similar to the Cambridge story. It's a chain of stores run by a family. So it was not a very easy proposition for me to say no to my father. At the same time, I said, why not utilize all that I have learned?
Yeah,
It's obviously not going to be easy. People are different, cultures are different, everything was different. There were different sets of challenges, awaiting me everywhere. So I said, might as well jump into the familiar territory, where the sharks at least are known to you,
Yeah.
instead of jumping into a sea full of unknown sharks.
Right.
So I said, let's take the plunge. Let's go back home and build something better and bigger with this brand that we have inherited.
Yeah, wonderful. I'm sure a lot of Indians who are abroad and maybe are studying abroad are in the dilemma are listening to this podcast because there are more interesting things coming up in this discussion now. So, Prashant, what were so you came back to India in which year?
99 December I graduated, and that was the same year that I landed back into India and joined the business. I remember 20th January 2020 was when I
Wonderful.
actually joined the business.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah. So Prashant Bhatia, the third generation in Cambridge, business family has landed in India. Now, what challenges are there? What were the challenges that you faced, and how did you resolve them?
So Piyush, I saw two primary challenges, which I'm sure everybody listening to this understands is two of the biggest challenges. One is human resources.
Right.
And the second that we saw as a constraint or a challenge was basically capital resources. These are the two primary challenges that I saw as soon as I landed, went to the office the first day. I saw this as a primary challenge for myself to tackle.
And how did you tackle the financial and the human resources challenge?
So the human resource challenge we tackled by basically utilizing the best talent that we had. What we did is we divided them geographically. We said we understood who was a specialist in what kind of a field, and then we kind of assigned them to those areas, gave them some more responsibilities, gave them some additional hands to tackle those areas, to grow the business in those areas, to go deeper into those areas, to get into the geographical pin codes, as we say, of India,
Right, okay.
to penetrate deeper and deeper. So we used the best talent and we assigned them the responsibility and gave them additional helping hands also. So that was the first thing that we did is, reallocating the manpower within the various states of India that we were doing business in.
Yeah. So how many stores were there when you really started? You entered the business?
I mean, they were half of what we have today. So the number looked approximately at about 25 or 30, if I'm not mistaken with the number count.
Right.
So from there we have grown today to where we are. We are looking at approximately 70 outlets is what we have today. So we covered this journey in these many number of years.
And you said there were financial resources challenges also. So how do you resolve that?
Of course. So we were very lucky because we had partners, and this I think is important for all entrepreneurs to remember that in your journey, ensure that your vendors are your best partners, because they are the ones who are going to support you by giving you the raw material that you need to basically supply into the market, make your money, and then pay those guys back. So our vendors, because of the long-standing relationships that we had established over the years, they were very forthcoming. They understood the challenges where we came from, that we had branched out rather from one big tree, and now we're a small shrub that needs to grow into a bigger tree. So they were very forthcoming, they were very supportive, and they extended full credit facilities to us. They gave us as much of raw material that we needed from time to time. So that front, I think, for any entrepreneur is the most critical, or the most critical pillar to build, is your relationships with your vendors, your supplier community.
Wonderful.
And the second community that was very important was your financial community, which was your banks. Again, at that point of time in India, there were not too many of these, privatized banks. There was still a lot of nationalized banks that were playing in the market, and there were a lot of cooperative banks. So again, because of the long-standing relationships that we had previously enjoyed with them, they were more than happy to extend us various working capital limits, certain credit facilities, certain loan facilities to help us grow the business.
You know, a third generation youngster going abroad, coming back, can definitely contribute a lot to business in terms of, let's say, processes and systems, and expansion of business. So, what role have you been playing, or at the start or till now? What role have you played, and how differently you've been able to contribute to the growth of Cambridge?
So I'll tackle this question in different parts if I can do that. The first and foremost, I think that was important for me as well as for any entrepreneur in an organization, if it is starting out or even if it's in its, like in the middle of its life journey, is to ensure that the people know, each person knows what they're supposed to do.
Interesting.
That is the most critical function, I think, as an entrepreneur, as a leader of the organization, is to tell people what is expected of them. So the first thing that I did, which I saw was missing, was clarity of roles. People were not very sure. There were overlapping roles that people were doing. So if I'm selling, I'm going ahead and I'm doing the recovery as well, and I'm doing the accounting, the bookkeeping part of it as well, which is something that I should not be doing, wasting my time on. So the first thing that we do is we instilled a practice of conducting a daily meeting. A daily meeting. And this culture I picked up from the department store that I worked in the US during my internship phase. Every morning, we met on the floor before the opening of the store. We as in the store manager, the salespeople, we as interns were also given the opportunity to come and speak in those pre-opening meetings. And even the people who were in the packing and the cleaning department, everybody assembled on the floor, and we discussed what is it that we're going to do today.
Okay.
Because that, I believe, everybody, despite knowing their roles, we need like a gentle hammering every morning, just a gentle reminder telling us what is it that we have to do and what is expected of us. Another important thing that I learned during those meetings was the challenges that we face. Suppose if a salesperson is facing a difficult customer in a particular region, he doesn't know how to close that sale out. He doesn't know how to pacify an aggravated customer. These meetings gave him an opportunity to speak about his problems, and the seniors would come forward and help him with by providing some solution or saying that, what, I know this customer for long. Let me make a call to him and pacify him and kind of, just diffuse the situation.
Right, wonderful. I think also, if I'm not mistaken, I think you also created a whole range of new products, after you entered the business, right?
Yes. So before I entered the business, Cambridge was primarily known as a shirt maker, as you said that you know it as a shirt brand. But there was so much more that we were already doing. Our product offerings included a lot of other categories. So what would actually happen is we would get customers at our retail stores. They would come and demand certain products that we did not carry or probably was available with somebody in a premium category, in the menswear space. So we got that feedback from our salespeople that would come to these meetings. There we would, ideate, we would think about what needs to be done, and there we would try to create new products with value additions that would actually meet the expectations of the customers at the retail level. So yes, we did a lot of products. Chief among them, I remember we introduced a pair of formal trousers. It was very basic to look at, but the advantage that a customer had when he wore it was that it was treated with, an anti-stain chemical. So it protected the customer against any accidental spillovers. I mean, we're traveling all over the place. We're working. We're meeting clients. So any spillover, it could be It could be tea, it could be coffee, it could be anything, So we kind of caught on to that requirement. So we kind of caught the customer's problem and gave him a solution for that. So that was a big successful story for us that we created, because that product was not only sold within our own stores, but it got lapped up by our international buyers as well.
Oh, interesting.
So all in all, what happened as a result of that one simple thing, which was the daily meetings, we achieved a lot of results. First was basically our internal team, our internal customers, which is your own salespeople. They got a voice, they got ears also to listen to. They were able to come and share with us their practical problems that they were facing in the field. Second is operations started getting more and more streamlined. There was more clarity with people as to what is expected of them, what were they doing earlier, and now what are they really contributing to. So there was a sense of pride in the whole process that,
Right.
that I am contributing to the sales. I'm bringing in the ideas from my retailers to the senior management, and they are acting upon it. They are creating products that are actually selling more in the market. Hence, hereby, I am contributing more to the sale of the company and helping the brand grow.
Wonderful. So, I think listeners would also like to know the kind of accolades Cambridge as a brand has received. So, can you talk about the awards and recognition that your brand has got?
So, right about the early 2000 period, around 2004, 2005, the Clothing Manufacturing Association of India, which is the representative body for us brands, they started doing these awards. And it's not that it was a new award that was being done, but these awards primarily were geared towards the bigger brands of the country, the more national brands, the more multinational companies that were bringing these brands into the country. Up until then, that was a scenario. Then they realized that there is such a big pool of talent within the country itself. There are our homegrown brands. It's very interesting to know that after Raymond's, which is, I think, closing in on 100 years of existence as a textile and apparels company, Cambridge is the only Indian brand that has, been around and continued to survive and grow for over 6 decades. So this fact was realized, this was understood by the Clothing Association body, and they instilled awards for brands like ours. So in 2004, I remember, we participated in the first ever awards, which was basically for the small and medium brands of the country in all categories. Cambridge represented itself in the formal wear category, and that was the first year we actually went in front of this entire body of big these professionals who were assessing us on various parameters. What did the brand do? How did it grow? What innovations did it bring into the lives of literally the Aam Aadmi?
Right.
Like, what did we do over there? So we were evaluated on various parameters, and that was the first time. I still remember I went there with 2 of my other cousins, all of us belonging to the third generation, in a room full of very senior, successful, AVPs and VPs and heads of brands, and that's where we actually lifted the trophy for the first time as the best brand in the small and medium brands category for Cambridge. And that was a starting point for us. So 3 years consecutively, going from 2004 onwards, we won this award from the Clothing Manufacturing Association.
So, congratulations for that.
Thank you.
If you have to tell us, one secret of success for this kind of accolade, what would that be?
Piyush, I think it's not just one thing. I think it's multiple factors that worked for us.
Right.
Again, I'll go back to the little things that we did that actually added on, to us being successful and being recognized in our field.
Right.
So now, if you go back to the conversation we were having, where did this innovation come from?
Right.
This innovation came from doing those daily huddles, as we call them. Like at the start of every game, now that in IPL, the IPL just got concluded.
Right.
What was it that every team that was coming onto the field did?
Right.
They were huddling together. They came together as a team. They said, this is a task at hand. Either we have to defend or we have to do whatever we have to do. this is what we're going to do. The captain led from the front in the huddle. So those huddles for us translated into those every day meetings that we held, and that kind of sowed the seeds for us go forward in future.
Wonderful. I think along the way, Cambridge also ventured into uniform, category, and especially for, I think, hospitality sector, right?
Correct.
So can you tell us, how did it start, and how has been that journey?
Oh, it's been a very interesting and a very, very fun journey. And how it all started for us is basically there were these managers who were probably at various positions in the hotels, and even in other organizations. They would come to our stores, buy products for themselves, buy up the shirts that we sold, the trousers that we did, the jackets that we are wearing now. Those were products that they would generally need in their day-to-day lives. They were so happy with it. They would go back to the offices. They would get a lot of compliments on it. And people started asking them, like, can we do something like this for us internally? So what then started happening is, I remember this store that we had back then, and we still continue to have the store in South Mumbai. It was very close to the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel and Towers. So it was a manager from that hotel who was a customer at our Kulaba outlet, at our retail outlet. He came there, and then one fine day he asked one of our salespeople that, can you guys do uniforms for us? Can you make us like, the clothes that you're making? We need uniforms. We are the Taj. We're already buying something, but we're not very happy. Can we do your quality that you're offering to us as retail consumers? Can we bring that same quality? Can we bring in the same quality of the raw material, the stitching? Can we do it as uniforms for us? And that was the starting point for us. Similar to them, we had a lot of people, who were banking executives, there were entrepreneurs who had businesses of their own. So they would come, they bought for themselves, they wanted to do a conference. They saw, why don't I dress my team up in like team colors? And that's how the whole uniform thing came in. I mean, up until then, we did not really have too much of color in cricket also, if you see.
Yeah.
So cricket also introduced colors to identify teams, to give that team that separate identity, to give them the recognition that, you belong to this team. So that's how this whole uniform culture also came in, and a lot of organizations started approaching us. We did not go consciously soliciting business, but they would come to us saying, hey, I'm a customer. I bought from this store, I bought from that store. I need 20 units of these blue shirts, black pants, blue jackets for my team. Can you do that for us with our company logos on it? So that was basically the beginning point for us, and we still are very aggressive in that space.
Yeah. So can you tell us about what kind of clients are you serving in the hospitality sector, especially when it comes to creating uniforms for them?
So we are currently catering to the Ibis group of hotels. We work with the Taj group of hotels. We work with the Ramada Hotel. And we also work with manufacturing industries. For example, we have this company called Solvay Specialties. Solvay Specialties is basically the back end for a lot of FMCG brands. They buy their raw materials from them, and those people who are working on those plants, they need uniforms. So we have been the uniforms vendor for the last 5+ years. Similarly, we have another college institution called as Vidyalankar College. Vidyalankar College again has been a client with us for the last 5+ years. So whenever they need uniforms for their staff, Cambridge is their go-to brand.
So Prashant, that is really awesome. Venturing into a business, but the idea came from a client. So what is it that an entrepreneur who's watching this business and is very ambitious, wants to scale up his or her business, can learn from this experience?
I think, Piyush, the most important thing that I think anybody and everybody who's watching this needs to keep in mind is, do not lose sight of the product that you're creating.
Right.
Always put in your best, create the best that you're doing, and you never know. And this I'm saying it, I'm sure it's sounding very ambiguous, it's sounding very vague. It should not sound like that coming from an entrepreneur. But yeah, I mean, the possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless for any product to reach any desk, any person's wardrobe, and from there, anything big can happen. So keep an open mind, but keep creating. As an entrepreneur, I think it is your responsibility, as a leader, it is your responsibility to create. The day the creation stops, you will start stagnating. You will have stopped creating possibilities for your sales team, for your employees to sell more of your brand.
Yeah, so not only create and also maintain quality, right?
Of course, there is quality today, Piyush, is not spoken about.
Right.
It is a given.
Yeah.
With the plethora of brands and the options that are available in the market, nobody today you will see says that my quality is superior to ABC or
Right.
XYZ. Quality is a given.
Yeah, wonderful.
Players who have ignored quality have ceased to exist.
Very, very important learning. So Cambridge, as a brand, you said right now how many stores do we have?
Today, we operate through a network of 70 standalone stores and over 100 other multi-branded outlets.
Okay. So what are the future plans? In the next 2 to 5 years, what are the new things that Cambridge plans to do?
So our plans are very clear. A is the geographic expansion, for which we will continue to penetrate through the corners of the country. We will create an additional 35 to 40 outlets to cross the count of 100.
Right.
The target is for us to get that by March 2024. But I know for all practical senses, I am setting those ambitious targets for my sales
Right.
teams, but I know, we could be a little off by a few months.
Right.
But in the next 12 months from today, we want to cross that barrier of 100 because it's a big number psychologically for a brand to have achieved.
Right.
So that is the first thing that we are going to go all out on. The second thing that we are going to do is also this, what I spoke with was for the Indian market. The second thing that we're doing is going aggressive in the international markets as well. We are venturing into territories that are apt for a brand like us and are willing to take a value product. They need a value brand that will serve to a population that is similar to ours. So we are focusing aggressively in the international markets as well. That's number two. Number three, we are going to onboard our retailers with us, partner with us in our quest to become a big player in the digital space. And when I say digital space, I'm referring to e-commerce.
Right, yeah.
So there, what we will be doing is we will be partnering with the retail stores. We will be using them as our sales points. We will be using them as our dispatch units. We will be stocking in those units, and we will be reaching out to the customers in all parts of the country. And hence the number of 100 is important, because we would have been present in 100 pin codes to serve maybe 700 odd pin codes across the country.
I think you also have some plans for innovation, creating some new products as well.
Yes, constantly we do that, Piyush. As I said, innovation never dies. We are currently working on an exciting range of products, which is geared towards the modern traveler, because we are traveling so much in this post-COVID era, especially. Like, there's so much of pent-up demand that has suddenly come out. All of us suddenly realized that, what, one life to live, let's live it out to the maximum.
Right.
And let's do it now. What better time than now? At the same time, businesses are actually crossing boundaries as well. So there are a lot of travelers, there are a lot of business travelers. So we have a lot of interesting offerings that are coming up that our listeners and watchers of this podcast are going to come across in the digital space. They will hear about it. Those products will be geared towards the modern day traveler. So that's a very big innovative series that we are going to come up with.
Yeah, so as we come to almost the last two questions of this interaction, you've been in this business for more than 2 decades, right?
Yes, 23 years to be
20,
precise.
Yeah, interesting. So if you have to sum up your learnings, top 2 learnings, what would that be?
It's a very interesting and a very tricky question, in the sense, because the learnings have been beyond 2. But I think the most important thing that an entrepreneur needs to keep in mind, because a lot of people like me were in a situation wherein we had the opportunity to go professional, right. But yes, we also had this opportunity to become an entrepreneur. Right. I picked that because I knew inside my heart somewhere that this will give me a better opportunity to explore and to explore my talents, explore my creativities, bring forth whatever I think I have learned in these 2 years in my stint abroad studying and working over there. So the biggest thing that I think entrepreneurs or professionals who want to turn entrepreneurs are sitting on the fence, they should keep in mind that keep an open mind, keep an absolute open mind, because as I said, the world is full of possibilities. The possibilities are limitless for everybody. The second most important thing that actually I learned, and I quote from a lot of the bigger brands, the bigger, more successful international entrepreneurs, is that hire somebody who knows more than you.
Really?
Oh yes, I have very strongly believe that. Most of, and I'll tell you, Piyush, this becomes a challenge for Indian family-run businesses like mine, is because of the limited resources we bring to the table. We think, why should I invest in bringing somebody more intelligent than me,
Right.
who'll come here and try to teach me about my business? Why should I pay him more money just to do that? I know everything. I can manage everything.
Or maybe I should know everything.
Yeah, I mean, but that's something that we don't admit, right?
Right.
That I do not know this.
yeah.
As an entrepreneur, as a leader, you don't want to stand in front of your 20-member team meeting in the morning and somebody asks you, "Sir, what do we do about this?" I don't know. You don't see entrepreneurs very comfortable with that whole idea and being in that space. And hence, I say that after 23 years of working, today I very strongly believe, and I think this is something that startups especially should keep in mind, is hire specialists. You don't see the purser in an airline going and flying a plane. There is a pilot who has, God alone knows how many hours of training before he or she is assigned that plane to fly more than 300 passengers from Mumbai to Kolkata, or Kolkata to Delhi for that matter. So there is a specialist who does everything, and there is a reason why they have been chosen for their job, because they have been trained in that. They have had that much amount of training and knowledge. And so let's not be afraid to get in somebody who knows more than us. These are the people who will help you grow your business more. So these two are the most critical pieces of learning I think I have had in these 23 years.
So, Prashant, wish you all the best for your ambitious expansion plans. And thank you for coming to the show and inspiring entrepreneurs who are watching this show. And yeah, so do subscribe to this channel. And in case you want to get in touch with Prashant, all his links are there in the description below. And I'll see you in the next episode.